Continuing here. So, yeah, a lot of, these people, the establishmentarians, they know these truths. They know the things I'm saying. They know that the vast majority of jobs out there revolve around the problems. So it's absolutely imperative to keep the problems intact. Do you understand? To never solve the problems. And what I'm suggesting is that it's as simple as solving the problem of desperate poverty. And do you understand that if you had a basic income, that your taxes would go way down? I mean, if you weren't paying into all those entities I just mentioned, okay, the welfare, social welfare industrial complex, a lot of people, I mean, how many people? Hundreds of thousands in America, people are social workers, right? The dubious warfare industry and all the medical and the psychological and the psychiatric people that are needed around that. I mean that the whole dubious war. I'm not talking about just war. Okay, so I'm just talking about the money that's wasted, misspent. Like how even though a lot of people like myself marched against getting the Iraqi war started back in 2002, you know it went through nonetheless, and now everybody says, "Oh, it was a big mistake." But at the time, with that mindless jingoism, oh yeah, we think Iraqi did it. So a couple of people think Chalabi, and he tells it. I remember that Chalabi character. He was a troublemaker. He was a liar, but he was one of the ones. And they didn't care. They just wanted to make a lot of money and kill a lot of people. They were really some sick, twisted people. I mean, you got to admit that there's black hats. There's black hats and white hats in the military. It's as simple as that. There's war hawks and there's pacifists. Okay, and a pacifist is not a coward. They're quite the contrary, quite the opposite. If you look at the highly decorated Marine Corps general Smedley Butler in his book War is a Racket, how he points that out, that there are certain black hats in the military, okay, that will run it like a business. And they know that in order to be relevant, to make money for their shareholders, they've got to go out and pick a fight, start trouble, start a war, essentially. So when there's alternatives to just making peace and in the land, you understand that the people never want war. It's always just a handful of psychos within the nations that bring that wrath upon the people. Knowing the things God's pissed about is imperative to, getting your own act together, man, and knowing what you should be pissed about, too. This national debt, a huge scam. Who's it killing? It's killing the people at the very bottom that are being just, the base of this thing is falling on them and squishing them. You understand? They built this pyramid of evil, and the top is Lucifer, right? They're very open about this. They're God. And it's killing people, literally, okay? Suicides, homicides, prison, drugs, homelessness, dying out on the streets, okay? This is how they're dying from this pyramid of death with Lucifer at the top, okay? That's how they're killing people. They're breaking up marriages, you understand? I mean, the consequences of financial problems in people's lives is just, it cannot be overstated, okay? They're very, very pernicious, let's put it that way, very pernicious. And they just run the gamut. Okay, there's no end to the misery that's been caused by these money masters. Okay, they're a grotesque lot, despicable, ungodly, and they want nothing to do with living in a world without money. Okay, they would be utterly miserable. So what's God to do? How does He not have to separate them? So who gets to have the earth? The righteous, the meek shall inherit the earth. That's who's going to get it. But just imagine all those jobs that would disappear. Vast amounts of jobs. The social welfare industry, the dubious warfare industry, the debt industrial complex, whereby 25% of Americans purportedly are employed in the financial services industry to some capacity. And then you've got the criminal, the criminal industrial complex, right? Crime, jail, the jailers, I mean, the clerks and the attorneys involved. It's a huge swath of the population is involved to some capacity in the criminal industrial complex. So you could say I'm cynical, but I'm done, man. You know what? Everybody can say whatever they want, think whatever they want. But you know what? At some point, there's going to be a cutoff, and there's no more getting back. There's going to be some event, and your heart wasn't right, and you went to the side you thought you weren't going to. You ended up with the hypocrites and the gnashing of teeth and the weeping and the wishing and lamenting that you could have, just like it's written. Let me just dip his tongue in water and please help me here. This guy Lazarus. Remember the story Jesus told about the chasm that is built, and no, there's no going back. So there's no going back. We have a little window of opportunity. All we really have is today, one day at a time, and you figure it out, man, because there's only two places you can go. One is that you're going to inherit a renewed earth, and that's where life is eternal again. Okay, nobody in their right mind is ever going to choose to sin because, okay, it's just gone from our memory. There's no way. We know instinctively now that we're not going to have any dealings with the serpent, okay, and we're not going to be in a fallen state anymore. Okay, that's the way it's written. So all those people that are found worthy to inherit a renewed earth are the lucky ones. I mean, God knows I want to be there. And we all have a choice. It's our choice. But you got to understand the seriousness of this money thing. The money thing, man. The money thing in this world is everything. We all know it is. Let's just be honest and confess it to God and get off the junk. I mean, sure, I would like to see our problems fixed gently. But, after 55 years of witnessing this thing, ever since I was a child, watching the currency debasement through cost of living, tax, inflation unfold, the clipping of our currency. Okay, now they're down to just a little sliver, and we're all just pretending that somehow we make enough slivers, and we're going to be all right. So we're all in that establishment bandwagon. All those that are pragmatic, that have common sense, and they capitulate, they acquiesce, and comply with the system, the beast system. They go with the flow. They go with the path of least resistance. They go with the grain, right? And so, what are they going to get? I mean, they're careening headlong to destruction. It's just a ship of fools going off the end of the earth. Okay, I mean, it's madness. I can't understand why anybody would be overly invested in this scene, knowing it's temporary. It's like being overly invested in a dream. Whether the dream is good, bad, or in between, that it's temporary. So we all know that. There's nothing I'm saying that's subject to speculation. It's not speculative. It's not, it's not conjecture. Okay, it's a matter of fact. It's science. We know that today might be our last day on earth. There's a very good chance it is. A lot of people die every day around the world. Somebody we care more about might die. So there's these things that can affect us as individuals profoundly. In just the twinkling of an eye, everything can be changed in the New York minute. And that's how a dream is too. So why be overly invested in this thing? Why feel a need to hoard a lot of money and material things? And it's just sickening to me. And this homeless guy I was talking about, and he's got this big giant bag with his clothes in it. It's a clear bag, and it's got holes in it, and it just, I tried to talk some sense into this guy as much as I could, but he had a bit of an attitude, almost looked like too cocky. He was going to get himself in trouble if he's not respectful of law enforcement and all that. I asked him if he'd been crapping on the streets. Did you give him a reason to hate you? He said no. So, I don't know. It's just that maybe they know he's from another state, and California's got enough problems with all the homeless people here already, and it's predominantly white men, just to be quite frank. Though you see a lot more white women out there now too. But somehow all these immigrants that keep coming in and refugees, they're tapped right into the social welfare system. I think they get to leapfrog. Somehow they've got some advantage because of their status. California has now opened its doors to everybody, so it's bound to get pretty rough in California. And especially with the policies of Governor Moonbeam, there's going to be a lag period. So things are going to keep getting worse here. And I don't know. I mean, for a while, the currency debasement, I don't know how Trump's going to turn this thing around. I'm scared for humanity. I really am. That we don't even understand it. We don't even understand this. People don't even understand basic, rudimentary, fundamental economic principles. They don't understand the pertinence of the things that I'm trying to convey and impart to people. Basic understanding of economic principles, so you could be empowered. That's carrying your fair share of weight of the cross for humanity. That's giving someone a cold drink of water. Is just look. This whole entire so-called reality is nothing more than a lie. It's just fraud heaped upon fraud, and then added more fraud in there. Anything to keep this, Ponzi scheme going. Kick the can down the road, push the envelope as far as you can. We're on this trajectory as long as you're benefiting. Go along with it, man. Get along and speak out for it, and say, just ignore the naysayers like myself that say, no, you're a ship of fools careening to destruction. I'm sorry. Your hearts are in the wrong place. Your values are askew. If you don't value above all else the same things that God values, human beings, and you value your possessions and your money and crap more and all that, being establishment and status quo, if you value those things more, you're worldly, then I'm sorry, but you're on the highway to hell. You're going to go to the place where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. You become a hypocrite. You understand? You're not even cognizant of it. So you're inadvertently hypocritical. You're semi-conscious. You're subconsciously. I don't understand it. So these are the ones when Jesus predicted this. He said, look, in that day, many are going to call on me. They don't get it. That's why so many people are going to be caught off guard with their pants. Oh, it turned out to be all true that Jesus really was returning. He really was a real guy. And yeah, it's all going to happen someday. And you better get ready. And for those that get ready and prepare themselves, it's going to be the least traumatic because they're ready for it and they want it. When you're in your right mind, man, you have zeal for God's house and you want his will accomplished and installed upon the earth, man. You want freedom and justice and all good things, man. That's it, freedom. In order to be happy, you got to be free, man. So yeah, you got it. You can't be in fear. There's no fear is gone, man. I'm not afraid of pleasing the money masters of misery. Screw you. What do I owe you? It is not God charging me. When you catch a fish out of the ocean, God doesn't pop his head out of the clouds. That'll be $5, sir. Oh no, I'm sorry. You understand? I know what's going on here. And I know what has to change. And you could think that I'm nuts. Anybody could think I'm nuts, that I'm just too idealistic and I'm a pipe dreamer. And I mean, but where do you suggest it's going? I mean, something you think for yourself. Where is it going? If they keep on clipping the currency, we're going to have a third world country is what they would love. They would love to turn America into a hellhole. Some kind of Latin American, Biafra hellhole. Third world country hellhole. And we're well on our way there. I'm telling you, when we neglect the needs of our own citizens, our own native-born sons and daughters and veterans and all this crap, and say, well, they're crapping on the streets and they're filthy and they stink and they're shooting drugs and barfing and drinking and doing drugs and they're vile. I want nothing to do with these. They're the untouchables, lowlifes. You understand? You're an anti-Christian. You're certainly not a Christian, and you're not, in my mind, a good American at all either. Okay, because America's built on Christian principles, godly precepts. Our Constitution is. Okay, and I'm sorry, but I'm trying to warn people, man, and I just want you to get on the side of righteousness and heal the divide, man. What is written is that the peacemakers shall be called sons of God. Okay, sons and daughters, same thing. Mankind is womankind. We're a species. We're a race. We're one family. Okay, so in a very literal way, your welfare is my welfare. I need you to be free, and I need you to be happy in order to be free and happy myself. Do you understand how this thing works? It's give and take. We go this thing together. We can't divorce ourselves from our fellow human beings. We can't do that. As much as there's a voice in our head that says, yes, you can sure as hell try, and you can, just do good yourself, and, that's it. It's about old number one. It's about a rat race. It's about dog eat dog and social Darwinianism, and you got to just drown out that voice that's telling you to be a bleeding heart liberal and to care about other human beings, to think of the least of men as being Jesus Christ himself. That's prescribing to nonsense. Okay, that's what you're being told by the secular world and those that are in of that mindset, the status quo so often. And a lot of these people are just inadvertently evil, and you need to reach them. You need to, jar them out of their slumber somehow and inspire and provoke and instigate thought in their mind and in their heart to say, wow, are my values askew? Is this dream really just, a pseudo reality? And I was kidding myself and I was overly invested in this thing. Yeah, well, I mean, we've got to do what we can to wake each other up. And gee, I just got the ballot in the mail. Here in California, we've got 57, if you count the writing. I'm thinking about writing in myself here. But a woman I work for, she suggested this guy, Allen, so I might end up voting for him because I trust her, but I don't know. I might just write in myself, since I think it's probably going to be this idiot because he's got the name recognition, this what's his name? Gavin Newsom. He's one of these career politician types, but we'll see. We'll see. But it's it's tough. It's tough to make changes when you know that there is so much evil in the land. And I'm not cynical. I'm telling you the truth. And the truth is that we're in a lot of trouble. We've stepped in dog crap up to our noses, folks. And we're all going to start smelling it soon enough. I don't know what the major event, the earth-shaking event that we need is, but we need something. I mean, if volcanoes and wars and tsunamis and earthquakes and tornadoes and just all the crap going on in the world, okay,